As you can probably tell by the title of this video, I wrote a book. It's a very strange thing to say. Now it's not a physical book and I did not get it published or anything, but I did write it. It was the third novel that I ever finished and I am proud of it. I think it's become something and it's close to my heart now. It's like my little baby and I just finished it this weekend and yeah, I'm just really happy with it. So I decided that I would answer some questions about the book and the writing process, and I'll also have a way for you to access the book, which I will tell you all about at the end of this video. So the first question, what is the book's title? I currently have a title that I'm actually not that happy with. It's currently called Scars, but I think I might want to change it because it doesn't have the power that I want it to have. But for now it's called Scars. What is the book about? So I don't want to give too much away because I'm scared that I'm going to spoil things, but the book is about a girl called Julie, and Julie's not in a great place mentally. She's not in a bad place, but it's just like she's been depressed a few times and her life is just not that exciting. Until one day a man walks in. This man looks very sad and immediately it becomes Julie's mission to find out more about this man. She just doesn't have that much going on in her life, so someone suddenly walking into her cafe where she comes all the time looking so sad is something that's going to shake things up for her, and that's going to be a project for her. So yeah, it's going to be her mission to find out everything about this man and to hopefully make him happy again. I can't tell you anything else because both these characters, they have stuff going on in their lives, they have secrets, and I do not want to tell you them because I would ruin the book for you. So if you want to find out, then you're gonna have to read it. What was your favorite place to write? It's kind of hard, but definitely at home. I don't think I could write anywhere else because I would just feel like people were watching or reading along. So definitely at home when I'm alone. I would sit at a table because on a couch or on a bed it's just I don't know, it feels too lazy to be productive. So I would make sure that I was sat at a table and I would just crack on basically. How long did it take you to write the book? I started it in January 2016 and I finished it in June 2017, so a year and a half. The thing for me about writing is once I start, it's really hard to stop, especially in the beginning when I am so full of ideas. So I couldn't just write for 15 minutes. I would have to have a lot of time, and so I would only write when I would actually have a lot of time. And I've been kind of busy lately, so I often didn't have time to actually sit down and write. I would need to have a few hours of time so that once you're in it, you don't have to force yourself out of it again, because that's very annoying. Also, there were a few times where it was just out of inspiration, so I couldn't write for a few weeks or months even. Are there any real stories or anecdotes in the book? No, this is a complete work of fiction. It is not based on any true events. Of course your character is going to have similar characteristics to yours. At least that's how I feel about my main characters. Because if you write from an I perspective, it's not just going to be you writing it, but sometimes it's going to be you thinking it, you know? So they can be similar. However, in this case, Julie's life is completely different from mine. And I think she is different from me as well. Once you're really in it, your characters are going to develop and they're going to be their own people, which I always feel like is a really cool thing. What is your favorite chapter? This is very hard. I think either the last one or the one before that, because I don't know, stuff comes together and there's little themes that pop up at different times and they come back at the end. I also really like the epilogue, but the whole thing I'm very happy with. Do you have any specific writing strategies? I always start a book when I have lots of ideas. So I will be writing these ideas down. I've got notes on my phone where I just write random stuff, and I've got the document on my laptop where I also write notes. So I'll start writing, but then all the way at the bottom of the document there will be lots of notes. And those notes will slowly start to form an overview of the story, of what's going to happen when and where. And I cross them out when I've written them. But I don't write them in order. I write whatever I feel like writing. Usually there are scenes that really speak to me and that I feel like will have a lot of meaning in them, so I will want to write them because I have lots of ideas for them. But then there's also the stuff in between that sometimes can feel more like filler ups, which is not a good thing. Sometimes they'll feel like it needs to be longer, or you need to stretch it. You need to stretch the time. That's not a good thing to do. My story isn't very long. If it would be a normal book, it would be about 130 pages, so it's not too long. By the way, that's 50,000 words, almost exactly. And that is because when I would write before, I would write lots of just fill up chapters. When I would be reading that back, that just felt kind of boring, and it makes the book lose its, you know, vibe, like its energy. So I try to avoid that now. And but still, there's going to be scenes that are more important for the story than other ones. So I would really feel like writing the big ones first, but then sometimes I would write, you know, the other stuff in between. And it was like completely random order. It was all over the place. But the more you write, the more it will start to come together, and the more you'll feel like it's becoming a book, you know? For me, writing is like being in a different world. Like you create this whole different world and you get to be in that world when you start writing. And also, this is gonna sound really strange, but as soon as I start writing like a scene or something, it will feel like the scene already existed. I'm just writing it down, you know? It doesn't feel like I'm coming up with it on the spot. It feels like it's already there, but I just have to write it down. It's a really nice feeling to have because it means that you have a lot of inspiration, I guess. Something to keep in mind when you're doing this chaotic order thing is to keep an overview. Like, go back to your notes and see what's happening and stuff, because otherwise it's gonna get super messy and you could get a lot of plot holes or like continuity mistakes. For that, I also have a tip. Once you've finished it, you might not want to go back to it because, you know, you've already gone over it so many times. But reread it as a whole. Just actually read it from start to bottom without changing anything in the document. I just put it on my e-reader and started reading it, and I would put notes in the e-reader of things that I wanted to change, and then I went back to those notes and changed the little things. It's so much different than when you're reading it as you're writing it. Because also for me when I write, I don't always write new stuff. Like when I open a document, I don't just go to a random place and start writing new stuff. Usually I'll be scrolling through the document, I'll see something that I like, I'll start reading it, I'll start changing little things, and then I'll start adding on to that piece. So it's always very random. But yeah, obviously you can get mistakes from that, so it's nice to just go over it as a whole without writing, just reading. That really helped for me, and it made me see it from, you know, the reader's perspective. Although that's still really hard because my characters have secrets and I know the secrets from the start, so it's different for me. I know exactly how it's gonna end, you know, so you can't always read it from a reader's perspective, which is why I'm asking lots of my family and friends to read it, so it's, you know, they can also give me some feedback on like things that I could improve, things that are not necessary, little mistakes that I made, you know, stuff like that. And then the last question, do you have any advice for aspiring writers to pass writer's block? I've definitely struggled with some writer's block. I think actually for a few months I didn't know what else to write anymore. But the only tip I can give you is don't force yourself. As soon as you're gonna force yourself to write, you're gonna write stuff that you're not gonna be happy with. So I put it away for a while, and for me it's easy because, you know, writing's not my job, it's a hobby. Oh my god. Writing is not a job, it's a hobby, and I do it next to all the other things that I do. So for me it's easy to just put it aside and do other stuff. So for me that really works, to just not think about it. And there will be a point where you will feel like writing again. For me also there was this motivation of wanting to finish it. I really want to finish it, and I wanted people to be able to read it, you know, so I don't know, that kept me motivated to actually finish it. Okay, so those are all the questions that I wanted to answer. I hope you got a little bit of an idea of what my book is like, and maybe if you're interested in writing, then you got some tips from this. So as I mentioned at the start of this video, I will be sharing this book with you. There will be a link in the description where you can go and you can get the ebook. You can read the ebook on e-readers obviously, but also on laptops. I know for sure you can read them on Apple laptops, but I don't know about Windows. And you can read them on iPhones. So you can go and get that. I would really like it if you do, and I would really like it if you would tell me what you thought, because I'm happy about this. It's like my little baby. So yeah, that was all I wanted to share with you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Bye!